let's find out what happened on day 2 of the RAC Rally.
Lancia got it right on the first day of the event, a spectacular for the spectators. But the Matador, unhurried, is awaiting a chance to strike back. Perhaps it'll come in the forests of Wales. Meanwhile, lurking in the shadows, the British champion, tilting for another title. It's all coming up here on Screensport, the second day of the Lombard RAC Rally. Hello again, Andy Smith here, and in the co-driver's seat as usual, Mike Broad. Let's first of all, Mike, go flat round the route.
There are 4 legs and the rally starts properly in the Welsh Forests on day 2. Day 3 features the Lake District and Kielder, and finally there's a sprint around the Yorkshire Moor stages centred on Pickering.
So the special stages around the stately homes of England on the opening day. Indeed, the opening stage was in the Great Yorkshire Showground. First away, last year's winner and the defending champion Carlos Sainz, skating down the track.
Carlos well aware, of course, that the first day stages can lose him the rally rather than just win them.
Second on the road, the championship leader. 7 points the difference going into this, the very final event of the season.
Hannu Mikkola on Clumber, the 4 times Lombard RAC winner in his little Mazda. One of the few tarmac stages on this year's event. And as he gets into 6th gear at some 110 miles an hour, even a world champion can make a mistake. He's quoted as saying he's never been so fast backwards in his life.
So if the greats make errors, what about the young lions? Llewellyn picked the wrong tyres on the opening stage. He made up for it in Clumber. Marco Allen on special stage 4, the overall leader at this stage, but he dropped back here along with Oriol, Delacour and Carlos Sainz. Traditionally, Marco leads on the first day, but the Chatsworth tyre choice caught him out here. Carlos Sainz, meanwhile, unflustered. Smooth work by the Spaniard. But it left the door open for his great rival. And a giant leap into the lead by Juha Kankkunen. McRae, meanwhile, revelling on the opening day. No team orders. It was simply, go get 'em, Cole.
And that's exactly what he did, by setting up fastest time on the Donington stage.
By Sutton, Kankkunen had regained the lead that he'd lost at Donington to Marco Allen. McRae was quick as well. He was running 21st on the road, but 4th on the leaderboard. The little Nissan, new to the event, worked wonders for Blomqvist in Western. Nine of the 37 special stages completed. Kankkunen with the advantage in the championship battle over Sainz, but a terrific showing from McRae.
Marco Allen in the next Subaru in 3rd place, equal with Carlos Sainz and Kenneth Eriksson in the gallant 5th.
A look at the fabulous stages of the second day.
the Welsh Loop. 12 stages, 125 miles of glorious muddy Welsh forests, including the demanding 22 miles of Hafren.
The second of the day, 1,500 feet up in North Wales. Kankkunen lost 5 seconds to Sainz on the first stage. Here on the second, he snatched 3 back. Sainz with only the 9th quickest time, but just 3 seconds slower than Kankkunen. McRae, a sluggish start, but then he improved rapidly.
And here, Kenneth Eriksson, the dark horse, still in contention in the Galant.
Dazzling form from Didier Auriol. 3 fastest on stage times on the first day, another here.
Miki Biasion fighting his way up from 8th position.
The Lancia service, Didier Auriol, now really at home in the woods. Tyre choice vital.
All the manufacturers send cars through each stage 1 hour before to make the driver's choice a little easier for the tyres. And then they send the emergency chase cars to the end of each stage where the vans can't get to.
Daybreak over Bala and a very tough stage ahead. Kankkunen, the overall leader, but he was well off the pace here, but it was difficult for him to explain why.
Sainz gained 7 seconds on Juha here, but complained of an oil smell in the car.
So it was young McRae. All the stops open, he blasted through the stage for his second successive fastest time. Suddenly, he led the rally overall by a second from Sainz.
Kenneth Eriksson in the Galant, struggling to keep up with the Flying Scotsman.
Auriol, equal 8th quickest here, 13 seconds slower than McRae.
Marco Allain struggling with gearbox problems on this stage and now in 6th position.
And a glimpse of Ari Vatanen, improving but misfiring.
Biasion started the day well, but he struggled on this stage.
The Finnish flag for a Swede, Stig Blomqvist, 5th quickest here. Second fastest though, Gwyndaf Evans, replacing the sacked Fiorio in the Sierra. He was on his home ground, though that's seen the end of his efforts in the past.
You know, I certainly will know the road sections very well. Obviously I'm familiar with the tyre choices and things like that, 4 wheels, but the actual stages, I'm only familiar, I don't actually know them, so I don't see that's going to be a big advantage at all.
And here's Droopy himself, quietly effective so far, 4th fastest on the stage and 12th on the leaderboard, as the Mitsubishi had a decent morning. Heading towards central Wales, and the man from central Scotland extended his lead, his 3rd successive fastest time on stage. Colin McRae, the first British leader since Llewellyn 2 years ago.
Carlos Sainz, he doesn't have to beat Colin McRae, only Kankkunen to get the world title.
Kankkunen dropped another 10 seconds to Carlos here, while Eriksson dropped a place to 5th, a turbo problem.
Frenchman Didier Auriol, equal time with Colin McRae, and now up to 4th place.
The big Finn in the wars, dropping from 6th to 10th with a puncture.
Ari Vatanen, 59 seconds off the lead, in 6th place.
Biasion back up 2 places to 7th as Allain and Blomqvist fell back.
A damaged rear suspension held up Gwyndaf Evans on this stage.
Louise Aitken-Walker, a quiet rally for her. She was running in 21st place.
Finland's Lassi Lampi, a regular visitor to the UK. He's been here for over 20 years.
The Group N leader, but only by a second from Scotland's Robbie Head.
leading German Michael Gerber, 24th overall in the Group A Toyota.
And the Dutchman, John Bosch, 28th, still getting used to the car on the loose surface. So at 10 in the morning, with another 8 stages to go in the day, the order was like this. McRae seeded 21, but leading the big boys. He's in Wales, though, where he clinched his British title last month, but it's caught him out in the past.
Yes, in 89 and 91, Colin McRae's Welsh international rallies landed with big accidents.
Vatanen steadily improving to 6th. Watch out for Biassion, 3rd last year, he could equal that. David Llewellyn still holding on to 9th place. Marco Alain dropping out of the picture into 10th. In part 2, Broad calls the shots as Mikkola tackles Duffner. Second day resumes in Duffner, a rough, difficult 13-miler.
Hannu Mikkola is driving a Mazda four-wheel drive turbocharged car, 1894cc engine, but he's giving away quite a lot of power to the Lancia, Subaru and Toyota. The car's fitted with a 6-speed X-Track box, which allows Hannu to change gear without the clutch. That's for the speed of it. There are basically 2 different styles of pace note, the descriptive style, which Hannu uses, and the newer number system. Mikkola's notes describe the corners in words such as medium left, 100, that's a distance, fast left into K right, K is a 60-degree corner, and he'll add in comments such as keep out when there's a hazard on the inside. The newer number system has been introduced by some drivers who find it quicker and easier for the co-driver to say at the speeds of rally cars increase on the stages. The numbers generally start with 1 as a hairpin, up to 7 as a flat-out corner. The style would be something like this: left 5, 100, right 4 into left 3, care, right 1, 300. The co-driver must say the notes at precisely the right time. Too early, and the driver forgets. Too late, and that could mean an accident. As long as the driver understands the note, well, that's all that really matters.
The Havering Forest in the middle of Wales, overlooked by Plynlimmon, some 2,500 feet up, very slippery. Colin McRae paid for the wrong tyre choice and dropped from 1st to 4th.
Now let's look at this again in slow motion and see just how hard the Pirelli tyres that McRae uses are working on this hairpin. The other Subarus are on Michelin, which has meant that Subaru have had to split up their service teams.
Carlos Sainz, brilliant in Havering. He tested here extensively and he went into the lead on the rally for the first time this year.
Sainz really getting to grips with the Welsh forests.
Ewa Kankkunen, meanwhile, he was some 30 seconds slower than Carlos.
And he really couldn't explain his lack of form.
Lancia's Didier Auriol, by contrast, though, he put last year's experience when he came 5th to brilliantly good use.
Fastest by 24 seconds, over a second a mile faster than anyone else. Superb.
Up from 4th to 2nd. Kenneth Eriksson in the Galant, back to full power and up to 5th place overall.
And not making the expected impression on the leaders.
Now here's possibly the most popular man in rallying, Ari Vatanen. Back in the World Championship with Subaru after he'd been concentrating on desert raids like the Paris-Dakar. Says he prefers the RAC because he can wear his underwear the right way round. The laundry service on the RAC is that much better. He was 7th fastest in Havering. Mickey Biassion, 3rd quickest, but slower than his teammate Auriol.
But the Lancias generally showing that their extensive testing is paying off.
In Wales, in the Nissan, David Llewellyn holding a top 10 position.
But he broke a drive shaft later on this very stage.
Gwyndaf Evans in the battered Sierra, staggering through Wales now. He was almost in sight of his own home at this point.
But I never feel he really shines in Wales under the pressure of a home crowd.
Margot Alain, gearbox repaired, but now complaining of running hot.
Louise Aiken-Walker in 20th place. She stopped on the stage to help teammate Malcolm Wilson, who had stopped with transmission problems and eventually retired.
Lassie Lampe, 15th overall, but a tree planting operation required after this rally.
Competitors are allowed service after most stages. The high-tech of Formula One has now come across to rallies. The German engineers look at the Toyota and the electrician looks at the telemetry onboard computer.
The tyre choice on Havren was a difficult one for Colin McRae.
We knew it would be a bit, you know, in the borderline.
Right.
But the only other tyre we had was a wider one, which wouldn't be as good in the mud, but it was 6.5 a dozen really. I think we should have taken the wider tyre.
Okay.
But the condition of the road now is getting really bad. The stage was very soft.
Right, it was cutting up, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's mud everywhere.
The next stage, across the Dovey Valley, up near Corris. Carlos Sainz retained the lead with the third fastest time on this stage.
Didier Auriol, 5th here, and he stayed 2nd overall.
The surprise among the Lanciers was Ewa Kankkunen. Eventually, he improved here, reduced Sainz's lead over him, but only by a second. He stayed 3rd.
Colin McRae, fastest time again. Good tyre choice this time, Colin.
Kenneth Eriksson, still 5th, still 52 seconds off the lead.
Ari Vatanen, 9th quickest on the stage, only 13 seconds adrift of fastest time.
But just a second behind Vatanen overall came Mickey Biassion, 6th quickest on this special stage. Picking up the pace, Margot Alain, 4th fastest here and up 2 places overall to 8th.
Finland's Timo Salonen, an unspectacular 9th overall.
The top Nissan by now belonged to David Llewellyn. In 10th place, following Stig Blomqvist's fall back with prop shaft trouble.
The local favourite, Gwyndaf Evans, 12th overall.
And the leaderboard halfway through the day. Carlos Sainz, without seemingly making maximum effort, ahead by 4 seconds. And Ewa Kankkunen, his championship rival, needing a major boost. Didier Auriol developing into a really serious threat. A magnificent drive and just behind the leader.
Mickey Biassion closing in on Vatanen. Marco Allen recovering. Saulanen plodding along. And David Llewellyn keeping the Welsh hopes flying in the little Nissan Sunny.
Dovey Main packed with spectators, some too close for their own good. Carlos Sainz, 4th quickest, not good enough to retain the lead.
Didier Auriol, fastest time, 14 seconds quicker and really flying.
Ewa Kankkunen, a mile a minute and more. 2nd fastest, still 3rd overall.
McRae losing 37 seconds to Auriol, only 9th on the stage.
Tricky stage this for Kenneth Eriksson. He spun twice and lost 5th place.
Ari Vatanen didn't go so well in Dovey. He lost 6th place on this stage.
So it's Mickey Biasion charging into contention. He equalled Kankinen's time.
Marco Allen enjoying himself, 5th fastest here.
Here's Timo Salonen, 9th overall and not gaining.
And our last view of David Llewellyn. He stopped with electrics failure, took 30 minutes to find the fault and had to retire out of time.
Tommi Mäkinen struggled. 17th place overall on the leaderboard, but at least he's still in. Gwyndaf Evans crashed here and retired.
Hannu Mikkola with the onboard camera just outside the top 10. And let's have another glimpse of how Hannu, the master, does it. This is stage 16 Derby.
The stages clustered together here as the rally turned back north again. In Penmachno, Didier Auriol retained his lead, clocking the 5th fastest time on this stage. The world champion, Carlos Sainz, he pulled back 3 seconds, his confidence high. But what was wrong again with Juha Kankinen, only 8th quickest here, another 11 seconds dropped to Sainz. Colin McRae making sure of a place in the top 5. Mickey Biasion popped up with the best time, 12 seconds behind McRae now. More trouble for Kenneth Eriksson, differential problems, 6th fastest on the stage. Mickey Biasion into control, no doubt exhilarated by that quite exceptional display. Marco Allen, turbo fixed, gearbox fixed, full bore through Penmachno, equals 2nd fastest. Ari Vatanen, 10th quickest, an all-round steady performance today. Marku at the time control. As usual, plenty to say for himself.
What is best time here? 14. With 4, sorry. 4.
The answer he'll get, 7:05 Biasion, 3 seconds quicker than Marku managed. Francois Delacour, the best Ford. But for how much longer, Mike?
The fire extinguisher in the engine bay went off all by itself, cut the engine, and poor old Francois didn't know what to do next. It took a full 2 minutes to restart the Ford. But I must admit I'm very impressed with the way that Delacour is handling his drive, the first time he's ever seen the British forests. Eventually, Francois gets the engine going, and it drops him just outside the top 10.
17th fastest, step up from Group N, proving considerable for him, Tommi Mäkinen. Overall, he's just inside the top 20. With Colin McRae fastest on the last special stage of the day, a result which crowned a remarkable 24 hours for him, he'll be reseeded 4th when the rally heads for the Lake District. The top 5 without Mickey Biasion, he crashed on the final special stage and retired from 5th place, a disappointing end to his Lancia career.
3 Finns in the top 10, Stig Blomqvist in 9th and Delacour 10th. That's 3 Subarus in the top 10 and a Ford.
So it's Colin McRae heading homewards now for 2 stages in Scotland, but the world champion and Toyota finished the day ahead. All to play for in the north, with 16 stages still to go. Bringing you the best of the action, this is Smith and Broad in North Wales, next time from the Lake District and Kielder. Join us again on Screensport for the best of the rally action.
This is Screensport, broadcasting via cable and satellite throughout Europe and the UK, 18 hours a day during the week and around the clock on weekends. For football with more flair, for motorsport with more grunt, for boxing with more punch, for golf with more drive, and constant action as it happens wherever it happens. We're cracking the whip with sport satellite by satellite. Screensport, more choice.
Now, we're first to bring you the latest action and information from today's stages of the RAC Rally.
Didier Auriol, the brilliant Frenchman, leading the Lancier attack so impressively. Inexperienced on loose gravel, his sheer talent compensates for that. The Flying Scotsman in full cry, Colin McRae with no team orders except to go flat out. A strangely subdued Ewan Kankkunen in Wales, holding on to 3rd place overall, but that wouldn't be good enough to wrest the World Championship from the overall leader, Carlos Sainz. Unflustered, unhurried, the world champions in charge at the end of the Welsh stages. And on the 3rd day, Grisdale and Kielder. Severe tests in any conditions. Last year, by the time the rally had reached the Lake District, Carlos Sainz had virtually sewn up his victory. Ewan Kankkunen was out and Kenneth Eriksson too far behind to challenge. This year, the rough, slippery stages could prove crucial to the result and the championship. A mountain to climb, Grisdale and Kielder back to back, with Coombe the bridge between, and that can't be underestimated. The rally's spectator stage is over, and Wales had done its worst on Monday to eliminate Malcolm Wilson and 2 of her famous sons, Gwyndaf Evans and David Llewellyn. Today, the Scottish borders and the north of England. First away on opening day, the defending champion, trailing Kankkunen this year by 7 points. Kankkunen might be ahead in the championship race, but he needs to beat Sainz here to secure his 3rd world title.
"49-year-old Hannu Mikkola, driving the Mazda, starts special stage 2 of this year's Lombard RAC Rally, Clumber Park, an all-tarmac stage. It's exceptionally quick, and even for a 4 times winner, sometimes they can make a mistake. He just touches the grass and spins backwards down the road at over 100 miles an hour. Luckily this time, no serious damage.
Marco Alain came into Chatsworth as leader. He'd promised so much in his last drive for Subaru before he tried his luck with Toyota in 1992. But Chatsworth caught him out. He selected the wrong tyres and he slid back. In one bound, Juha Kankkunen became the overall leader. Meanwhile, the home threat, Colin McRae, impressed at Sutton. And Stig Blomqvist, in the little Nissan, he proved that he was not going to be outpaced on the opening day. At the end of the first day, Kankkunen harbouring championship hopes, and inspired Colin McRae in second place, Sainz, Alain and the rest waiting for things to develop. Monday morning in Wales, Kankkunen on Llacainog. He opened up with an excellent time, and that left Carlos Sainz to do the chasing. Another excellent showing from Colin McRae. And yet another. Vintage stuff from the young man in Wales. He went on to make it a hat-trick on Duffnan. McRae claiming the lead of the Lombard RAC Rally, the first British leader for 3 years. Carlos Sainz still holding off Kankkunen, although seemingly without making maximum effort. Kankkunen was suddenly not turning in the times, and he couldn't explain why. Didier Auriol was getting to grips with the forest stages. He was not going to be easy to drop. Sainz took over the lead on 15. Brilliant control from the world champion. But Didier Auriol proved that he was not about to be overawed. Lancia unconcerned about Auriol, but worried about Kankkunen. He was dropping precious seconds. Third placed overall at the end of the second day. Colin McRae, meanwhile, made a wrong tyre choice and dropped from first to fourth, though he began to recover later. So the leaderboard at the end of day 2. Sainz way out in front, Didier Auriol and Juha Kankkunen with the Lancia challenge, McRae the surprise packet in 4th place, and a quiet 5th from Kenneth Eriksson. Marco Alain, Ari Vatanen and Timo Salonen, the 3 Finns, 6th, 7th and 8th. Stig Blomqvist not outclassed, and Francois Delacour, well, setting the world on fire. Problem for him at the end of the day as he accidentally flipped the extinguisher switch. The third day, and the loop into Scotland. It's the longest and most difficult day of the whole rally, and notable names were expected to be absent by the end of it. The first look at Grisdale of 1991, and the world champion was slowly away. Only 5th fastest on this section. He retained the lead, but only by 7 seconds. Didier Auriol quickly into his stride again. Fastest on this special stage. But Kankkunen hates Grisdale. He dropped another second here to Carlos Sainz as he recorded only the 8th fastest time. The Subaru legacy of Colin McRae. Under orders to attack, he came through 2nd fastest, only a second slower than Didier Auriol. Kenneth Eriksson came through 10th fastest. That cost him 5th place overall. Marco Alain up and down the leaderboard in his typical style, 3rd quickest through Grisdale. Ari Vatanen, with yesterday's misfire not completely cured. And Timo Salonen, solid yesterday, it could be time for him to attack. Stig Blomqvist. Electrical problems relegated him to 10th fastest on the stage. The best performance here by Francois Delacour. Third equal time with Marco Alain.
Hannu Mikkola in Grisdale Forest, working for his living. He was 14th fastest on this stage, 11 seconds slower than Didier Auriol in the Lancia. But he's in 11th place overall and looking good for a top 10 placing. Hannu has the experienced Jonny Johansson calling the pace notes to him. Johansson is a Swede, Mikkola a Finn, so they use English pace notes. The problem with the stages in Grisdale is that they were in superb condition, and with the heavy rain, the mud sat on the top and made them like a skating rink. But watch Hannu's relaxed style as he pushes the little Mazda to the limit. He has years of experience, 18 World Championship wins. He's on his 121st World Championship rally.
Another Finn, Tommy Mäkinen, 15th overall after problems on the first 2 days. And encouraged by the form of his great friend Colin McRae, Robbie Head was leading Group N on stages he knows so well.
They've all just recently been logging in the forest, and there's about 1/4 of an inch of mud on the top of the surface. And with the ice and snow around as well, it's quite tricky in some of these stages.
From the short Grisdale onto the long one. Carlos Sainz in trouble here, overheating, and he could only manage the 7th fastest time. Rapidly becoming a brilliant all-round star, Didier Auriol, his 10th fastest time out of 23 stages. Kankkunen, 3rd quickest, 15 seconds faster than Sainz, just 18 seconds between them now. But the crowd waited to cheer only one man, the local hero Colin McRae. 4th overall going into the stage, they had to wait longer than expected. When he eventually appeared, it was in a much revised Subaru Legacy. He'd rolled 8 times. McRae's teammate, the big Finn Marco Alain, 8th quickest on the long Grisdale. A much improved showing from Kenneth Eriksson, up 2 places overall to 4th after the 3rd fastest time on the stage, despite an off at McRae's bend. Ari Vatanen, 6th fastest here, down to 6th on the leaderboard. And Timo Salonen starting to pick up the pace. Tommy Mäkinen had made the step up from Group N this year, but he'd retired on both RACs he'd attempted previously. He revelled on this long Grisdale stage, just 8 seconds slower than Auriol, 5 seconds faster than anyone else. The Mazda, 2nd best in Grisdale. Who could have believed that? Louise Aitken-Walker, 17th overall. My mum can drive quicker than this, she said. And Stig Blomqvist, 12th quickest through Grisdale. Memories of that fabulous battle with his old pal Per Eklund in 1987. On that occasion, Eklund overhauled Stig at a second a mile, only to be disqualified later. So, Auriol the leader after Grisdale, Sainz holding off Kankkunen in the battle for the championship. With McRae out of contention, the old hands have control of the top 5 places. As far as the special stage winners are concerned, it shows that Auriol is starting to dominate the rally. Colin McRae, though, after his roll, was certainly in the mood to try and regain some of those lost 12 minutes. But as we head for Kielder, it's Auriol, the man from Montpellier, who's on course for his 7th World Championship rally victory. Join us again in part 2.